Leviticus 24, the sanctuary's lamp and bread. The Lord said to Moses, "Command the Israelites to bring pure pressed olive oil to you for the lamp, to keep a light burning constantly. Aaron will tend the lamp, which will be inside the meeting tent, but outside the inner curtain of the covenant document, from evening until morning before the Lord. This is a permanent rule throughout your future generations. Aaron must continually tend the lights on the pure lampstand before the Lord. You will take choice flour and bake 12 loaves of flatbread, 2/10 of an ephah for each loaf. You must place them in 2 stacks, 6 in a stack, on the pure table before the Lord. Put pure frankincense on each stack as a token portion for the bread. It is a food gift for the Lord. Aaron will always set it out before the Lord, Sabbath after Sabbath, on behalf of the Israelites as a permanent covenant. It will belong to Aaron and his sons. They must eat it in a holy place because it is the most holy part of their share of the Lord's food gifts, a permanent portion. Assault and blasphemy. The son of an Israelite mother and an Egyptian father came out among the Israelites. A fight broke out between this half-Israelite and another Israelite man in the camp, during which the half-Israelite blasphemed the Lord's name and cursed. So he was brought to Moses. His mother's name was 𝗖𝗵𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗽's daughter from the tribe of Dan. He was put under guard until they could determine the Lord's verdict. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the one who cursed outside the camp. All who heard him will press their hands on his head. Then the whole community will stone him. Tell the Israelites, anyone who curses God will be liable to punishment, and anyone who blasphemes the Lord's name must be executed. The whole community will stone that person, immigrant and citizen alike. Whenever someone blasphemes the Lord's name, that person will be executed. If anyone kills another person, they must be executed. Someone who kills an animal may make amends for it, a life for a life. If someone injures a fellow citizen, they will suffer the same injury they inflicted. Broken bone for broken bone, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The same injury the person inflicted on the other will be inflicted on them. Someone who kills an animal must make amends for it, but whoever kills a human being must be executed. There is but one law on this matter for you, immigrant or citizen alike, because I am the Lord your God." Moses told this to the Israelites. So they took the one who had cursed outside the camp and stoned him. The Israelites did just as the Lord commanded Moses. Leviticus 25, the sabbatical year. The Lord said to Moses on Mount Sinai, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, once you enter the land that I am giving you, the land must celebrate a Sabbath rest to the Lord. You will plant your fields for 6 years and prune your vineyards and gather their crops for 6 years. But in the 7th year, the land will have a special Sabbath rest, a Sabbath to the Lord. You must not plant your fields or prune your vineyards. You must not harvest the secondary growth of your produce or gather the grapes of your freely growing vines. It will be a year of special rest for the land. Whatever the land produces during its Sabbath will be your food, for you, for your male and female servants, and for your hired laborers and foreign guests who live with you, as well as for your livestock and for the wild animals in your land. All of the land's produce can be eaten. The Jubilee year. Count off 7 weeks of years, that is, 7 times 7, so that the 7 weeks of years totals 49 years. Then have the trumpet blown on the 10th day of the 7th month. Have the trumpet blown throughout your land on the day of reconciliation. You will make the 50th year holy, proclaiming freedom throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It will be a jubilee year for you. Each of you must return to your family property and to your extended family. The 50th year will be a jubilee year for you. Do not plant, do not harvest the secondary growth, and do not gather from the freely growing vines, because it is a jubilee. It will be holy to you. You can eat only the produce directly out of the field. Each of you must return to your family property in this year of jubilee. When you sell something to or buy something from your fellow citizen, you must not cheat each other. You will buy from your fellow citizen according to the number of years since the jubilee. He will sell to you according to the number of years left for harvest. You will raise the price if there are more years, or lower the price if there are less years, because it is the number of harvests that are being sold to you. You must not cheat each other, but fear your God, because I am the Lord your God. You will observe my rules, and you will keep my regulations and do them so that you can live securely on the land. Food during fallow years. The land will give its fruit so that you can eat your fill and live securely on it. Suppose you ask, what will we eat in the 7th year if we don't plant or gather our crops then? I will send my blessing on you in the 6th year, so that it will make enough produce for 3 years. You can plant again in the 8th year and eat food from the previous year's produce until the 9th year. Until its produce comes, you will eat the food from the previous year. Buying back family property. The land must not be permanently sold, because the land is mine. You are just immigrants and foreign guests of mine. Throughout the whole land that you possess, you must allow for the land to be bought back. When one of your fellow Israelites faces financial difficulty and must sell part of their family property, the closest relative will come and buy back what their fellow Israelite has sold. If the person doesn't have someone to buy it back, but then manages to afford buying it back, they must calculate the years since its sale and refund the balance to the person to whom they sold it. Then it will go back to the family property. If they cannot afford to make a refund to the buyer, whatever was sold will remain in the possession of the buyer until the Jubilee year. It will be released in the Jubilee year, at which point it will return to the family property. When a person sells a home in a walled city, it may be bought back until a year after its sale. The period for buying it back will be 1 year. If it is not bought back before a full year has passed, the house in the walled city will belong to the buyer permanently and their descendants forever. It will not be released at the Jubilee. But houses in settlements that are unwalled will be considered as if they were country fields. They can be bought back, and they must be released at the Jubilee. Levites will always have the right to buy back homes in the Levitical cities that are part of their family property. Levite property that can be bought back, houses sold in a city that is their family property, must be released at the Jubilee, because homes in Levitical cities are the Levites' family property among the Israelites. But the pasture land around their cities cannot be sold, because that is their permanent family property. Poor Israelites and slavery. If one of your fellow Israelites faces financial difficulty and is in a shaky situation with you, you must assist them as you would an immigrant or foreign guest, so that they can survive among you. Do not take interest from them or any kind of profit from interest, but fear your God, so that your fellow Israelite can survive among you. Do not lend a poor Israelite money with interest, or lend food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from the land of Egypt to give you Canaan's land, and to be your God. If one of your fellow Israelites faces financial difficulty with you and sells themselves to you, you must not make him work as a slave. Instead, they will be like a hired laborer or foreign guest to you. They will work for you until the Jubilee year, at which point the poor Israelite, along with their children, will be released from you. They can return to their extended family and to their family property. You must do this because these people are my servants. I brought them out of Egypt's land. They must not be sold as slaves. You will not harshly rule over them, but must fear your God. Regarding male or female slaves that you are allowed to have, you can buy a male or a female slave from the nations that are around you. You can also buy them from the foreign guests who live with you and from their extended families that are with you, who were born in your land. These can belong to you as property. You can pass them on to your children as inheritance that they can own as permanent property. You can make these people work as slaves, but you must not rule harshly over your own people, the Israelites. If an immigrant or foreign guest prospers financially among you, but your fellow Israelite faces financial difficulty and so sells themselves to the immigrant or foreign guest, or to a descendant of a foreigner, the Israelite will have the right to be bought back after they sold themselves. One of their relatives can buy them back. Their uncle or cousin can buy them back. One of their blood relatives from their family can buy them back, or they may be able to afford their own purchase. The Israelite will calculate with their owner the time from the year they were sold until the Jubilee year. The price of their release will be based on the number of years they were with the owner, as in the case of a hired laborer. If there are many years left before the Jubilee, the Israelite will pay for their purchase in proportion to their purchase price. If only a few years are left, they will calculate that and pay for their purchase according to the years of service. Regardless, the Israelite will be to the buyer like a yearly laborer. The buyer must not harshly rule over them in your sight. If the Israelite is not bought back in one of these ways, they and their children must be released in the Jubilee year, because the Israelites belong to me as servants. They are my servants. I brought them out of Egypt's land. I am the Lord your God.